So lads, I mean this when I say this. I want all the Stephanie White apologists to come out. Because it's very, very clear that Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. I don't mean this when I say this. I don't think Stephanie White's a bad coach. In fact, I think Stephanie White's a really good coach. The fact that she was able to pull off a Commissioner's Cup win with the roster that they had, she is a great coach. We are not going to slander Stephanie White's ability to coach right here, but we are going to question Stephanie White's ability to specifically coach Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark just dropped a bombshell, and it confirms every fan's worst fear. Her own coach is telling her not to shoot. In a stunning confession, Clark admitted she's being coached to pull back right when she's on fire, revealing that the strange offensive lulls we've all seen aren't an accident. They're a deliberate strategy. This isn't just a case of bad coaching. It's a full-blown philosophical crisis that might be sabotaging the biggest star in the sport. We're about to break down the confession that started it all, the on-court evidence that proves it's happening, and how the Indiana Fever are now caught in an impossible situation with their franchise player.
Well, the cat is out the bag, man. Now, I told y'all, I was one of the first people to let it be known. Head coach Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day, and it's very much clear as day that this front office dropped the ball in hiring her to be Caitlin Clark coach. I'm telling you right now, Stephanie White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball. It's clear as day. She want to run this motion offense, and quite frankly, Caitlin either need to get the hell out of Indy or the front office need to make it their business to hire a new coach, man.
The truth came out, not in a heated post-game press conference, but in a casual conversation where the guard was down. During a recent podcast interview, Caitlin Clark finally said what everyone was thinking. She described the mindset of a pure shooter, explaining that when you see a couple of shots go in, your confidence builds until you're on fire, an unstoppable force flowing with pure instinct. Then, she dropped the line that sent shockwaves through the sport. She admitted that after hitting 2 shots in a row, she feels an undeniable urge to launch a third, even if that third shot is, in her own words, not advised by your coach.
Let's take a listen to this. This is, by the way, during the New York Liberty game. This is during the New York Liberty game. During the Liberty game. Let's take a listen. About the Liberty game. This is the game where Caitlin Clark hit 5 threes in the first half. This is the game where Caitlin was on like an all-time heater and then randomly she just stopped shooting. Like that is the thing. That is the thing that happened. She randomly just stopped shooting while she was on an all-time heater. She was on an all-time heater and she just randomly stop shooting.
In that single moment, the entire puzzle clicked into place for millions of viewers. The strange offensive lulls, the bizarre second half disappearing acts after scorching hot starts. It wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate strategy. The person with the greenest light in basketball history was being systematically given a yellow one, and fans were finally starting to see red. This wasn't just a minor disagreement between a player and a coach. It was the exposure of a fundamental conflict in basketball philosophy, revealed by the very star they were trying to contain.
So I had a film breakdown prepared today, but I'm actually going to go a different direction. This is a rant because we have to talk about the state of this Indiana Fever team, and I'm here to bring the reality to all you Fever fans. This team is not a championship team. They're not a championship team. They're nowhere near close to a championship team because every team that is a championship team can play defense. This Indiana Fever team has no defense, and that's like the farthest of their problems. Their offense looked really bad today, and Caitlin Clark obviously didn't shoot the basketball well, but I'm not going to blame this loss on Caitlin Clark, even though obviously they would have won if she would have shot the ball well. My whole thing is you were up when Caitlin Clark wasn't shooting the ball well. You had a double-digit lead in that first half while Caitlin Clark was clanking every single three. She was 2 for 9.
But this wasn't just talk or a hypothetical comment. Viewers had already seen this bizarre philosophy play out in horrifying detail during a now infamous game against the New York Liberty. In the first half, Caitlin Clark was a human inferno. She drained 5 3-pointers, each one more audacious and demoralizing to the defense than the last. She was in complete control. The arena was electric, and it had all the makings of one of those signature game-breaking performances that defined her entire college career. It was exactly what the Fever had drafted her for. And then the second half started. The fire was extinguished. Clark, who couldn't miss just minutes earlier, suddenly stopped getting the ball in positions to score. She took only a handful of shots for the rest of the game, becoming a ghost in the offense. The team's momentum vanished. The offense grew stagnant and predictable, and the Fever ultimately lost a game they had once controlled. It It was the perfect on-court demonstration of what she would later confess. When she gets too hot, the system is designed to cool her down. This wasn't a player going cold. This was a strategy pulling the plug.
And Caitlin Clark, man. Now, Caitlin Clark went on Sue Bird podcast and dropped major gems, bro. She let it be known that Stephanie White do not want her to shoot threes. Yes, this is not clickbait. Oh, my goodness, guys. Check this out.
So professionally, like that Liberty game, I feel like as a shooter, like when you see like 2 or 3 go in, especially like for me, like if I have 2 back to back in a row, like I'm probably gonna launch a third that maybe isn't advised by
For
Steph,
sure.
but like I gotta get it up. And then if the third goes in, like you're just hot. I think as a shooter, like your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand better.
So, who is the architect behind this bewildering game plan? Her name is Stephanie White, and to be perfectly clear, she isn't some unqualified coach who stumbled into the job. She's a respected figure in the WNBA, a former champion as a player, and a coach who has had notable success, even winning the league's Commissioner's Cup. This is precisely what makes the situation so maddening and complex. This isn't a simple story of incompetence. It's a story of a disastrous philosophical mismatch. Coach White is known for her love of structured, complex motion offenses, where every player is a cog in a meticulous machine, constantly moving and passing to create what she deems a good shot. It's a system built on discipline, patience, and equality, but Caitlin Clark isn't an equal part. She is a force of nature, an offensive supernova whose mere presence on the court bends the defense to her will. You don't put a supernova into a pre-built machine. You build the entire machine around its incredible power. What we are witnessing is a cold war between a rigid system and a generational star, and right now, the system is tragically winning.
Make a decision. Y'all want to keep making all this damn money off me, or do y'all can make money off her being a coach? Pick one. Pick one. What are we doing here? This was trash. We got popped. We got smoked by the Valkyries. Smoked. We down 20 at home. We down a dub at home. This front office is a joke. I don't know how they even let Timmy Fagbenle walk away. We didn't protect her. Bro, this front office is a joke. This coach is even more of a joke. A pure clown is what this coach is.
The Indiana Fever effectively drafted a Ferrari, a marvel of modern engineering built for unparalleled speed and performance, and they are forcing it to obey the rules of a school zone. Instead of letting Clark cook with the ball in her hands, the offense is a slow burn crockpot of dribble handoffs, off-ball screens, and passes designed to get her to give up the ball. We see her bringing the ball up the court only to immediately pass it away and run to the corner, becoming a glorified decoy while less effective players initiate the offense. Fans didn't tune in by the millions to watch Caitlin Clark become a decoy. They came for the logo threes, the pull-up jumpers in transition, and the gravitational pull that sucks in 2 or 3 defenders at a time, leaving her teammates wide open for easy layups. Her bad shots are statistically more efficient than many other players' good shots. Yet the playbook seems terrified of this reality, opting for a safer, slower, and profoundly less effective style of basketball that looks more like it belongs in the early 2000s than in the modern era.
Why not? Stephanie White, why not? It always works. 2 defenders are always going to go with Caitlin Clark. There should never be a play where Caitlin Clark brings the ball up the court and then she passes it and she runs off the playoff ball. Every single possession, there should be a screen, whether it be a Leah Boston, whether it be a Kelsey Mitchell who's going to cut, whether it be a Natasha Howard, literally any player. They set Caitlin Clark a screen at the top of the key, and off that, your whole offense should function. I don't care what Stephanie White wants to do with this motion offense thing. Literally, all you have to do every single time you have a practice is worry about what to do after the double team.
This conservative, risk-averse approach doesn't just put a ceiling on Caitlin Clark's box score, it poisons the entire team's potential and psychology. When your most explosive and confident player is forced to play with the emergency brake on, a culture of hesitation starts to trickle down to everyone on the roster. Other players become tentative, passing up open looks while waiting for the perfect shot that never comes. The pace slows, the energy dies, and the offense becomes predictable and easy for opponents to defend. This has a direct and damaging impact on other key players, especially the team's star center, Aaliyah Boston. Boston is a dominant force in the paint, but she needs space to operate. That space is supposed to be created by Clark's deep shooting threat. When Clark is relegated to the perimeter as a passive observer, defenders can sag off her and clog the lane, completely neutralizing Boston and grinding the entire offense to a halt. A shackled Clark doesn't just mean fewer points for her, it means a crowded, suffocating court for everyone else. The entire team is playing not to make mistakes, which is a guaranteed recipe for losing.
Saying this late last year in November when the Indiana Fever hired Stephanie White. I never thought I'd be saying this right now, only 19 games into the 2025 season, that it's time for Stephanie White to go. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White. This is not going to work. What we're seeing is not going to work. It's just not going to work.
What makes this whole situation so deeply infuriating for fans and analysts is that the solution is not only obvious, it's one of the most fundamental and effective plays in all of basketball. Every single possession should begin with one simple goal: get Caitlin Clark coming off a screen at the top of the key with the ball in her hands. That's it. That one simple action would solve almost every offensive problem the team has. The moment she comes off that screen, the defense is forced into an impossible choice. Do they double team her? If they do, she is one of the best passers in the league and will easily find the screener, Aaliyah Boston, rolling to the hoop for an easy layup. Do they try to fight through the screen? Clark gets a sliver of daylight, and for her, that's all she needs to launch a devastating three. Do they switch? Now you have a slower, bigger defender trying to guard the most dangerous shooter on the planet. It's a checkmate scenario on every single play, yet for some inexplicable reason, the Fever seem intent on ignoring this simple, dominant strategy in favor of a complex, ineffective system that achieves nothing. It's a classic case of a coach outsmarting themselves at the expense of winning.
Hi, I'm Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, and I'm a complete clown. I'm a clown. That is what I am as a head coach. I am a clown. I am ruining Caitlin Clark. I have no idea what I'm doing as a coach. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've been sent here on a mission to ruin Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and I think I'm doing a masterful job because I suck. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I actually have no idea how I got this job in the first place. I don't know how I got this job in the first place. I am a clown.
Predictably, the fan base is reaching a boiling point. The online discourse surrounding the team has devolved into a firestorm of frustration and anger. Every clip of Clark looking visibly annoyed on the bench or shaking her head after another broken offensive possession goes viral within minutes. The enthusiastic calls to let Caitlin cook have morphed into angry demands to fire Stephanie White. Rumors and speculation are running rampant, with many wondering if the front office will soon be forced to choose between their high-profile coach and their generational superstar. This isn't just about a few tough losses anymore. It's a full-blown crisis of identity that threatens the very foundation of the franchise. The Fever have been gifted a golden goose, a player who single-handedly elevated viewership, ticket sales, and national interest to unprecedented levels. And now, the world is watching as the coaching staff seems determined to pluck its golden feathers one by one. The pressure is mounting, and the front office is caught in the crossfire of a battle they should have never allowed to begin.
So Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans are having a meltdown about they god Stephanie White that they wanted so bad, man. So I've been seeing the takes, man. So now they want Caitlin Clark to demand a trade, or they want the front office to pick between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White, man. I'm not gonna say I tried to tell y'all, man, but it's just like, I was trying to tell y'all, man, like, Stephanie White is not this god that y'all was making her out to be, man. You know, Christy, like, I'm not even here to...
But this conflict is bigger than just one team. It's a classic story that has played out time and time again in the history of sports. The battle between a coach's rigid system and a player's transcendent genius. The greatest coaches to ever walk the sidelines weren't just tactical masters, they were adaptable. Think of Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls. He didn't walk in and force Michael Jordan, the greatest scorer alive, to become a pass-first role player. He implemented the triangle offense specifically because it created a framework that would unleash Jordan's brilliance while also elevating his teammates. Jackson adapted his system to his star, not the other way around. Coaches who fail to learn this lesson often end up as footnotes in a superstar's story. They are the ones who prioritize their philosophy over their personnel, convinced their system is more important than the generational talent standing right in front of them. The question now facing Stephanie White is whether she's falling into that very trap, a lesson some of the greatest coaches learned and others ignored at their own peril.
Stephanie White yesterday reduced Caitlin Clark to a role player. She turned a star into a role player like we've never seen before. While Tyler Marsh is trying to turn Angel Reese into a star, Stephanie White is trying to turn Caitlin Clark into a role player. Let that sink in.
And that peril isn't just on the court, it's in the bank accounts of everyone involved. Because while the coaching staff is focused on X's and O's, they are actively sabotaging a financial goldmine. The Caitlin Clark effect is a real, measurable phenomenon. Arenas are selling out across the country, not just in Indiana. Television ratings have shattered all previous records. Her jersey became the top-selling draft pick jersey in history, across all sports. The WNBA was handed a cultural and financial rocket ship with Clark in the cockpit, but by forcing her into a conservative low-light system, the Fever are actively dimming the spectacle. Fans are paying astronomical prices to see the deep threes, the flashy passes, the electrifying takeovers. They are paying for the show. When the coach benches that show or scripts it out of the game, you're not just losing momentum, you're committing brand suicide. The front office and the league owners can't be blind to this. Every possession where Clark is a decoy is another fan left disappointed and another dollar down the drain.
Well, you gotta get the hell up out of here, bro. Pack your shit. Pack your shit, bro. No, I'm not even playing that game, bro. No, I'm not doing that. Pack your bags right now. Stephanie White gotta go. You gotta go. You are a clown of a coach, a pure clown of a coach, bro. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You got the best point guard in the world, and you have her playing small forward. You got her playing small forward, bro. What are we talking about here? This is like Mike D'Antoni having this 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns and saying, hey, Steve Nash, go stand in a corner. We want Quentin Richardson to bring the ball up. Man, get out of here, man. This is trash.
But perhaps the most explosive theory for this strange coaching strategy has nothing to do with tactics or finance. It might have everything to do with something far more volatile: human emotion and professional jealousy. Caitlin Clark didn't just join a team, she became the face of the entire league overnight. A rookie commanding more attention than established veterans who have been grinding for years. Some have speculated that the share the ball motion offense isn't just a basketball strategy, but a political one, a desperate attempt to manage egos and placate other players in the locker room who may feel overshadowed. Is the coach trying to prevent a full-blown internal meltdown by artificially spreading the ball around, even if it directly leads to losing games? It raises an uncomfortable but critical question. Are these coaching decisions based on what's best for the team on the court, or what's necessary to maintain a fragile peace behind closed doors? If so, the problem is far deeper and more toxic than anyone imagined. The Indiana Fever are at a critical crossroads, facing a dilemma that will define the future of their franchise for the next decade. On one side, they have a respected veteran coach with a clear, disciplined system she fundamentally believes in. On the other, they have a transcendent talent, a player who doesn't fit neatly into a system because she is the system. The two are on a collision course, and the wreckage is piling up with every frustrating game and every wasted possession. What we are witnessing is either the painful, awkward growing pains of a new era, or something far more concerning: the systematic dismantling of a superstar's confidence and potential before she even gets a chance to truly shine. A choice has to be made, and it has to be made soon. You cannot serve two masters, and you cannot cage a phenomenon. The Fever must decide whether they want to win with Stephanie White's philosophy or dominate with Caitlin Clark's brilliance. The entire sports world is watching, waiting to see which one they choose.